been a little girl. Okay, I go into a school, because I'm still working in schools. I go into a school, and every single member of staff is a woman. Not a surprise, not one of them's ever been a little boy. They only know what it's like to be a little girl. And so when boys behave in a manner that I would say, yeah, pretty typical.
Like rough and tumble play.
Well, not even that. Running in the schoolyard. That's not appropriate. You are not behaving in a socially appropriate manner. A manner in which if they behaved in right here, we'd all say, yeah, fine. But they're in that context. It's not fine. You can't behave like that. That's unacceptable. Well, it's no wonder that large numbers of boys have lost all interest in school long before they get out of elementary school. And in the last 10 years, there's been a 70% increase in the number of boys leaving secondary school who state they'll never set foot in a classroom again, ever, in a time period where the knowledge economy is all in play.
Yeah.
Get an idea why I'm concerned?
Yeah, of course.
It's not for me. I mean, my day's over. It's my children, my grandchildren. It's the guys my daughters are going to marry. It's the guys my granddaughters are going to marry. It's the guy my great-granddaughter is going to marry. Is he going to be perpetually unemployed because he's a school dropout?
Or just seen as less important because he's a man?
Totally worthless. And how long is my daughter, who marries this guy who's living in his parents' basement, how long is my daughter going to want to stay with this guy before she decides, well, I can do better? And then I'll end up with her in my basement with 3 kids. If I have it. So you see what I'm saying? Like, it's a whole societal issue. And we spend a lot of time, we spend a great deal of time talking about we need to educate girls in the third world because it's definitely in the interests of their overall economy. Hasn't it anybody occurred that when 50% of the people in our own economy are being undereducated, that we're shooting ourselves in the foot? And that's what's happening. I mean, if you look at what the economists are telling us, they're telling us about 15%, almost all men, of our population is going to be chronically unemployed all their lives.
Right. Yeah, well, more men are homeless, right?
Way more men are going to be working at menial jobs, chronically unemployed, contributing very little to our society, collecting from our society, not because that's what they want, but because they've been indoctrinated into this from the time they were very young. We need to do some change, and we need to do it now, because it's not going to happen 30 years from now. It's already begun to happen, and it's going to get consistently worse. This probably has nothing to do with Germany, but anyway.
No, totally. It's awesome stuff. It's awesome stuff. And the other guy, I think is his name.
Justin.
Malcolm. The other journalist from Humber College.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's got tons of audio.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I got tons.
Well,
of
whatever. But I just by way of interest, I am on what's called an Odyssey for Equality. Okay. I write children's books. I write books for little boys that are based on the educational research around how little boys learn to read. Those books are on 3 continents, or in libraries in 3 continents. I have traveled most of Canada now, speaking to groups, speaking to professors, speaking to parents, speaking to homeschoolers, and I continue to do that. That's one of the things I work on.
This panic button,
and it's all on this idea that
camera guy can
we
jump
need to
3
raise
feet.
awareness about what's happening.
Yeah.
All of this stuff here,
Yes.
it comes from that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It comes from the fact that this lady who's giving this guy what for isn't happy in that situation. And one of the reasons she's going to be, and the statistics are out there, when women are better educated than their husbands, there's a higher divorce rate because they start to think, correctly, I should be doing better than this. This guy's unemployed half the time. He's living in his parents' basement. That sounds like a joke, but it's not a joke.
I mean,
maybe you do, so I'm not.
I do.
Okay,
so,
right.
I mean, I'm trying to get out of there.
No, but you understand what I'm saying, and the reality is, okay, you're in a school, that's one thing, but what happens when you're 5 years out of school and you're still there?
Yeah.
And you think, when are you leave the nest and fly?
Yeah.
Well, I can't because I don't have what I need to do.
And there's